Now, in a letter, 6 chair professors of medicine in Sri Lanka have provided recommendations to curb the spread of COVID-19 and contain the impact it has on the economy and the country as a whole.
The letter signed by 6 chair professors of medicine on the 5th of April has been directed to the commander of the Sri Lanka Army, Lieutenant General Shavindra Silva, who is also the head of the National Operations Centre for Prevention of COVID-19 outbreak, and the Director General of Health Services, Dr. Anil Jasinger. Professor Janaka De Silva from the Kalaniya University, Professor Sarath Lekamwasam from the University of Ruhuna, Professor S.A.M. Kularatna from the University of Peradeniya, Professor Sisira Siribaddana from the Rajarata University, Professor Saroj Jayasinghe from the University of Colombo, and Professor Kamani Wanigasuriya from the University of Sri Jayawardenepura have signed the letter. Whilst commending the efforts made by the government in curbing the spread of the virus, the professors say our security forces and the health authorities have been very successful in contact tracing and isolation of contacts, as well as in quarantining of returnees from foreign countries. However, the professors say that Sri Lanka will have to come out of the lockdown in the near future as a result of the impact that it is having on people and industries. The letter reads, quote, "Many people with other illnesses have experienced difficulties in accessing treatment and medication. Nearly 10% of our population is 65 years of age or older and suffer from ailments that require regular medication." Unquote. The letter adds that despite the best efforts of the government, many people have found it difficult to obtain their medicines during the lockdown. In terms of economic productivity, the professors say the cost to the apparel industry alone is estimated at 2 billion rupees, whilst the tourism industry is at a standstill and daily wage earners have no means of supporting their families. On the matter of lifting the lockdown, the letter reads, quote, "The basis on which this decision is made should be very carefully considered based on scientific evidence and could be informed by the strategies followed by other Asian countries such as China, South Korea, Vietnam and Singapore that have been successful in containing transmission. The professors recommend that the curfew can be relaxed in stages district-wise if the level of transmission is not high based on the daily number of new cases. They note, however, that areas with high numbers of patients could be cordoned off and kept under stricter control measures or lockdowns. They suggest that supermarkets, hospitals, markets, more petrol stations and pharmacies could remain open for a period of time and that each household can be given a pass for one person to leave the house in order to obtain essential items. Further, the medical professors stated that a requirement can be imposed for everyone to wear a face mask and practice social distancing in public. The letter notes that measures such as increasing testing capacity while seeking advice from virologists and continuing public health measures including contact tracing, providing medical staffers with personal protective equipment and purchasing medical supplies to cope with a possible surge in cases can also be implemented. They also recommend the enforcement of a strong system for surveillance and reporting from around the country if the incidence goes above a certain level. The professors say that authorities can consider further easing restrictions if the number of new cases does not increase over a period of time. They say, quote, "The airport could be open for inbound passengers initially only from countries with low transmission rates and particularly for Sri Lankan citizens who wish to return home," adding that this should be done in a tightly controlled fashion, including the continued imposition of mandatory 14-day quarantine. The professors also note with concern the increasing frequency of people sowing ethnic disharmony through social media and have requested TV stations to report situations with respect. They say, quote, "Stigma and the trend to blame certain groups could push the epidemic underground with devastating consequences for all," unquote.